going to start recording this. Hello, if you're watching online, we're going to get started here. And in person, you guys, like I said, feel free to eat up. If you need to use the restroom, take a phone call, I am super chill. Please eat the entire time. Do your thing. You need more water, you let me know. Bathroom is right around the corner. If you need to get up and go for it. Do you guys want anything to drink other than water? I have Sprite, Diet Dr. Pepper, Coke. Okay, positive. If you change your mind, okay, and you start to get hangry, I may just come hand you one and say you need this. But in all seriousness, test prep is always better with food in your stomach. You can focus a little bit better. We are going to have one more person joining us in person, so I'll kind of make a little bit of room for him. We'll probably have him sit next to you today. And there's meat, pizza, and also pepperoni, so eat up. All right, if you need the Wi-Fi password, Perfect Blend Guest is the network name, and the PW Espresso is here. Espresso without an X, it is ES Espresso. Okay, we're going to be working out of the Blue Book app. So if you don't already have that downloaded, go ahead and download it. And we're going to do the full length practice number 9. We're going to be working through that one. Now, I also have sourced some of the hardest math questions I could find. And we are going to try to give those a shot, okay, with the intention of you realizing that they are the hardest type. And on the test, maybe how to approach them versus just kind of being stuck and not understanding what it's saying. So while everybody's kind of getting set up, what is something that you want to walk away from tonight, understanding, have a better understanding of? Like, is there something specific that you know you need help with? Okay, time management, that's a big one.
I think like the math section, like percentages.
Okay, percentages. Now, I know that you've taken it, I think all of you have taken it before. Have you all taken it on on computer before? Okay, just making sure. Yeah. Desmos is a huge help. So we are going to be solving a lot of these on Desmos. Now, some of the hardest questions that I found, I had to rework them to remember, to just remind myself of how to do some of these, because they're not necessarily Desmos questions. And we'll talk a lot about strategy tonight. So time management is going to be naturally something that is built into this whole session. Okay, I'm going to tell you when you're spending too long on something, or maybe a better way to solve it. Okay, I have had a boot camp all week, and this week there was one of the problems that we were working out. One of the students worked it out one way and still got the right answer. That's great. That's fantastic. But what I will do is I'll show you maybe a different way to work it out that maybe will be a little faster, or a different way that you may not have thought of that will make more sense to you after you see it that way. So we'll kind of embed that all the way. Were you guys able to get the Blue Book app open? Okay. SAT practice test number 9. Okay, so go ahead and do that. The reason I like to have you log into your own device is because it will log your attempt. So you'll be able to go back and review these questions. And I'm also I'm recording this whole thing just with my voice. There's no video or anything in here. But if you guys want to review this session and rewatch it, I would not rewatch it tonight. But if you want to in the future reference it, it's a great resource for you. Okay, even sometimes I watch it back and I'm like, dang, that was good. Like, that was gold, literal gold that I'm dropping, okay? And it will help you. The strategies help you, because naturally in the course of 2 hours, we are going to cover a lot. And you may miss a few things, okay? Sometimes when I have students that bring laptops, also, by the way, if you want to, you can open up like a notepad, processing document, but it is helpful. Okay, some of the things that I'm going through are going to be helpful if you write it down. All right. So we are going to actually start with English, the English and reading section. So let me get out of here. It just automatically opened up to math because I was looking at it earlier. Let's see here. But we are still going to be working out of practice test number 9. Okay, so math was one of the things you said, time management, math, and you guys watching online, feel free to comment too, because we'll go through everything that you guys have questions with. Anything with reading and writing that you guys need help with? Because we're going to work on everything. Okay, so my goal, if you guys are like solid on the reading and writing, there's no need to really spend an exorbitant amount of time on there. But I do want to go through it and some different strategies that will help you inevitably. Then we'll work through the math section. Math is typically where students have the most questions, or like we'll work through something and then you just get lost and you're like, wait a second, I need more help with this. English and reading are English and reading. There's not a whole lot that is going to be surprising to you guys at this point because you have spoken English your entire lives. So there's nothing in that that's going to be like, but when we're pulling out Algebra 1, when we're pulling out some geometry, some of you guys have already taken pre-cal, maybe Calc 1. And so these are things that are like in the archives, like way back here, that we have to, dust off and remember how to do slope-intercept form, okay? Something so simple, but it's so complicated because you haven't seen it in a while. Okay, so let's just go ahead. We'll go pop into practice test number 9 here. We are going to start with the reading and writing section, and I do want to start with module 2, okay? Here's why. Module 2 on both the math and the reading and writing will get a little bit more challenging as you go. And my goal is to over prepare you so that when you get to the SAT, you're going to be like, this is a cakewalk. My greatest joy is when students text me after their test is over and they're like, dude, I think I aced it. Like, it was so easy, I'm nervous. Like, I finished with 10 extra minutes. Like, that's how easy it was. And I'm like, bro, let's go. And then you get your scores back and you're like, dang, like I went up, 250 points or whatever. And I'm like, there it is. Like, the goal is to give you guys confidence so that you leave here feeling like, dude, I have prepped, I am ready for this, and I can go take my SAT and get the score that I want so I can go to college for free, get my bright futures and all the things, okay? And also, if you're taking the ACT, because many students that I have take both, I do have the same thing next Friday. Same thing, we'll do a different dinner, but the test is very different, okay? I think you guys both, have you taken the ACT? I remember, okay, and I know you've taken it. So they're very different tests, but we can prep differently we will prep differently for them. So same thing's happening this time next Friday. If you wanna hang out with me again for a couple hours, I would be honored. I would rather do nothing else than math on a Friday night. I think you guys probably could think of a few other things that you may want to do, just a few that would come before that. Me, this is my jam. So let's go ahead. We're gonna skip over to the review page. Okay, so this is how you get to module 2. At the bottom, you'll click review page and then you click next. It will say the module is over and then it will go over to module 2. Okay, so we have a few reporting categories for reading and writing. And depending on how you perform in each one will determine how you do on these. Some students find this very easy, others struggle in it. We have, so the logical and precise word or phrase, what you have to do is read these in context. That's very important. Some of the words that you look at, you may know what they mean, but it may not be used in the same way that you're used to seeing it in context. Okay, this week we were working one out and there was a word in there and I'm like, I don't think I have ever seen it used in the context that it was on the SAT, ever. I'm 34, so like I've been speaking English a long time. I've been teaching this a long time, 15 years, and I had never seen that. And I was like, cool. And it was one of those ones that just reminded, it always humbles me when something like that happens. I'm like, dang it. Like just when I think I've got the SAT in the bag, like then they slide that thing in there. So you do have to be careful. Don't assume that you know what these mean until you read it in context. Okay, so I'm going to address how to approach this section first, and then we'll go through and start answering some questions. Okay, so the first few are all going to be word or phrase. You guys can hang out on question 1 for right now. We're going to go back to it. Okay, main purpose of the text. The biggest piece of advice I can give you for this is that you have to think about the majority of the text. Okay, as I mentioned before, I love math, right? So if we are talking about the majority of something, what percentage would that be? Okay, over 50%. So when you're trying to cross out options, what you're going to cross out are going to be very narrow ideas. Like they maybe mention it once in the passage. That's not a main idea. Okay. Another strategy here is anything that is verbatim, meaning word for word out of the text. You don't want to pick that one. Why? For the same reason. If they're mentioning it in one sentence and you're taking that one sentence and saying this main idea, that's the equivalent of like judging a book by its cover. You can't do that. You want to read it. And so like just at first glance, I see 3 words that are making me feel like it's about a path, like a journey. I see go forth, great reaches, retrace the way with you, pilgrimage. I'm just looking at that. And I already know that we're talking something about a voyage, a path or something like that. So as we're reading through the options, make sure that you're taking into context how many times things are mentioned, how frequently, and I kind of break it down to a percentage and say, is over half of the text talking about it? Well, then the answer is yes. Okay, and then you mark your answer there. Okay, now this one, I love to go over the strategy for this one. When you're talking about finding out the purpose of something, the easiest way to tell its purpose is to remove it and see what the context is now lacking, okay? So an analogy I like to use, let's say you're sitting in a chair and I were to ask you, what is the purpose of the legs on a chair? You would find out very quickly if I removed one of the legs of the chair what its purpose was. And so doing this is the same thing. If you read it without that sentence in there, read the underlined portion first and then read the whole context without it, you're going to see, I think it's much easier to see what the purpose of it is. Okay. Okay. Now, we have these according to the text options here. Okay, based on the text, according to the text, this is going to be something that is verbatim out of the text. Okay, so according to the text, how did this happen? We should be looking for those key words from the question in the passage. Okay, that is going to tell us exactly the answer to this question. Okay, how did Richard Wagner achieve moments of extremely high volume in his operas? What we're going to do is come over here and look for that, experiment with volume in their music works. They did so by increasing blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this one is going to be copy and paste. Can you locate? This is, according to the text, means can you locate? Okay, it's already there. You just have to see it. We talked about main idea. Okay, now we're talking about supporting claims. Okay, this tends to be tricky for kids, students. You guys are kids to me, but students. If you're supporting somebody's claim, you actually have to understand what you're reading. Okay, and you've got to pretend like you care about it. Because if you want to support something, hopefully you guys are not just going to support something that you have no idea what it's about. Hopefully you would have a passion about it and want to support, okay? So when you're actually looking at this, you're using data from the table to support the research team's conclusion. You have to go find out what the research team's conclusion is and then draw an inference from the data that you're given in order to support that. These are critical thinking questions that will take you longer than normal, okay, to solve. On the reading and writing portion, you do get a little bit over a minute a question to answer these. These are going to take you longer than that. Heads up. So the ones that should not take you as long are just the straight grammar ones, like is a comma needed here? That kind of thing should be quick. These require you to read, to analyze, to understand, and then make an answer choice, to choose an answer. So it's going to take longer on these. Okay, same thing for this one, a logical completion of the text. Our brains are pretty good at this when we can get locked in on what it's talking about. And when you have words like, I can already see that it's some legal jargon in here that you may not understand right off the top of the dome. But if you can understand what it's talking about, then this part, our brain is very good at this. Our brain does not like to leave things open-ended. So naturally, psychologically, our brain will help fill in the rest of the text there. Okay. So these shouldn't be too challenging for you, but we will go through some. Get practice. Okay. Anything that says conforms to the conventions of standard English is grammar. It happens around the 15, 16, 17, 18. I've seen it as late as 19th question. Somewhere in the middle. Okay. You're going to be hit with grammar. These should take you significantly less time than all the other ones that we just went through. Main idea, main purpose, function of the underlying sentence, logical completion of the text. All of those things require time. This should not. Okay, we should be able to knock these out. So there's about 8 to 10 of these on each one. I think this one has 8. 7. Okay, and then we've got some transitions. Now, I will upload a document for you guys, a cheat sheet about transitions that just helps you understand basically a word being matched with its purpose, like when you would use after, when you would use regardless, when you would use instead. I'll upload that into our notes about this session this evening. Most students don't have too much trouble with these, but if you do, speak up. Okay, I love having a cap for our classes because it's not like you're just sitting in a lecture hall where there's hundreds of kids. You have a voice and you can speak, you can ask questions. And I want to do that because I don't want you to get to the test tomorrow and be like, oh, dang it, I always miss these and I was too shy to ask. Please don't be. Okay, I'm not going to make you feel dumb. Now, when we get to math, if you miss a very silly one, I might poke fun at you, but don't get your feelings hurt because you deserve to be poked fun at a little bit if you can't solve it properly. But in all seriousness, I will not make you feel dumb. I would rather have you ask now than shoot yourself in the foot tomorrow at the test. You're sitting at the computer and be like, I just should have asked her. So here, I have a very, very good strategy for these. When you are reading the notes, an outline, okay, the most important thing that you need to do is give them what they're asking for. And you might hear me say that and say, well, yeah, duh, it's the SAT, I have to. Yeah, but we're really bad at that. We like to overthink things. We like to overanalyze. We like to put in our own thoughts here. And this is not asking for that. This is saying, these are your 4 bullet points. This is what you give me out of the 4 bullet points. Don't do anything else. This is it. So when we are reading something like this and we say the student wants to identify the year that the canon of medicine was published, that's it. That is it. What is the only bullet point that matters in this entire outline? The 3rd one, okay? Don't overthink that. So if the 3rd one is the only one that matters, what does the answer choice have to be? Okay, it really is that easy. Oftentimes students will read this and then they go read the notes and they're like, okay, well, if it was published in 1025, I don't know, they had to have started writing it maybe a couple years before. And I'm like, just stop. Just extract the information, okay? So these, I'm hoping that you'll get 100% after hearing that. I know that that sounds so simple, but it is. Students way overcomplicate the SAT. and the SAT is very pattern driven. So the pattern that we are going over today, you are going to see this repeated tomorrow when you take it. You are going to see exactly the same structure, main purpose, logical completion of the text, standard English, bullet points like this. So you should be able to apply what we're doing today tomorrow. Okay. All right. So we're gonna start answering some of these. And my goal here is to spend approximately the next 30 minutes. If you guys are interested and we're like rolling through this and you don't really have any questions, we can hop over to math before that. But I want to leave a little bit of time at the end where you guys can ask me questions and or get some time to answer some questions. But I do think that one of the most valuable things we'll do today is to have you guys see me maybe work out some of these very hard math questions. So I definitely want to make sure that we have time to allot for all of this stuff. But it can be flexible on your guys' needs. Okay, so let's start with this one here. Okay, which choice completes the text with the most logical and precise word or phrase? We've got Nigerian American author Teju Cole's blank, his two passions, photography and the written word, culminates in his 2017 book Blind Spot, which evocatively combines his original photographs from his travels with his poetic prose. What would this one be? It's B. Okay, how do we know it's B? Exactly. Are you going to be concerned about your passions or surprised at your passions or indifferent to your passions? No. Okay, so we've got to, again, use logic on this one. Okay, this one here, see if you guys can answer this one. Hello, how are you, sir? Take a seat anywhere you'd like on the seats that are available. Yes, in front of the meat pizza, sir. A substantial effect, an acceptable. Anybody else agree, disagree? Is it a substantial impact or effect? Substantial effect? So quiet. You all agree? Okay. You agree? D? D? He's like, bro, I just got here. I don't know. All right, is D. So it's a substantial effect on the toxicity of their venom. Differences in these traits are associated with considerable variations in venom potency. Okay. All right. Let's do one that maybe has a harder type on here. Maybe that you don't know some of the words. Maybe you do. Okay. By the way, anybody who's joining, we're in practice test number 9 on the Blue Book app, reading and writing section 1, module 2, question 4. Habitats with certain fungus species grow on the roots of trees, engaging in mutually beneficial relationships known as, anybody like to give that one a shot? Okay. I will not. It's known as that ectomy word. In the symbiotic exchange, the tree provides the fungus with carbon and nutrient necessary for both species, and the fungus blank by enhancing the tree's ability to absorb nitrogen, another key nutrient from the soil. Speak. Now, if you guys have noticed over the last several questions, there has been another word in the paragraph that has been a synonym of the one that we've been looking for. Have you guys noticed that? So what word goes with reciprocates here? There's a specific one. It's a scientific word. Not that weird. I don't know what that one means, but there's a scientific word that means reciprocates or complements. Symbiotic, yeah. Yep. And in nature, things that have a symbiotic relationship complement each other. Like you guys have seen on sharks, they have like those sucker fish or whatever. They have a symbiotic relationship. I don't know what it is, but I remember that. And anytime, like even plants, I'm a huge avid gardener, right? There are certain plants that work well. They're called companion plants with other, because one, like a flower, will attract the same pest that maybe likes my tomatoes. So instead, they'll eat the flower instead of eating my tomatoes. It's a symbiotic relationship. Okay, let's go back a second. Substantial, let's go here. Okay, enthusiasm, we talked about that. Passion, right? Passion implies enthusiasm. All right, going back to question 5 here. Okay, main purpose, remember what we talked about. You want it to be the majority here. And I just, just by first glance, saw that it was some sort of journey, okay? So the following text is from Georgia Douglas, that's for you, Johnson's 1922 poem, Benediction. Go forth, my son, winged by my heart's desire. Great reaches yet unknown await for your possession. I may not, if I would, retrace the way with you, but my pilgrimage is through, but life is calling you. What do you guys think here? Yeah, it's got to be D, right? They're encouraging a child to embrace the experiences life will offer. Saying the kind of like a tipping off point there is my pilgrimage is through, but life is calling you. So even though someone's too old, oh, my son, I guess it's the mom or dad. But anyway, the parent is too old. So, but it's still saying, I want you to go experience life, even though I can't anymore. Okay, now the function of the underlined portion, what is this one? Or how do we approach these? Let me say it that way. Yeah, taking it out, okay? I would suggest read it first, read the underlined portion first, so at least know what you're removing. Then read the text without it and see if you can answer that. I feel like it's Jeopardy. Is it A? Thank you. I was like, what's the thing? I should have buzzers in here. Oh, that would make this a little bit more fun. Have you guys ever done the smart boards with the koosh balls? Oh gosh, I'm so old. So old. Okay. It's fun. Anyway, it's a game. Do you guys know what a smart board is? Yes, okay, the whiteboard. Anyway, there's like interactive games on it where you can create SAT questions, whatever, but you give the students a koosh ball. You know what a koosh ball is? Like the little rubber thing that you can pull and squeeze. Okay, just imagine that. It's like a toy, right? And you like yeet it at the wall and it hits a bubble on the screen and it pops open an SAT question. It is a lot of fun. I think it's a lot of fun. But I don't have a smart board here, so please do not hit my old TV. Thing is on its last leg. Anybody else think it is A? It elaborates on a claim about labor relations in a particular industry made earlier in the text. Or can we eliminate any? What can you guys eliminate from this? Okay. I definitely would agree. We can eliminate D for sure. Now, what makes you think you can eliminate C? What do you think?
Airline portion is going in. What was it before it?
Okay. So, historical labor activism. So, how do you think it goes with it? Curious.
Because it directly describes increased production, greater bargaining power of the employees. Further explains how the
Okay.
take advantage of their
Okay.
position.
Okay, and then why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't it be B? Option B.
I feel like these too broad. Let's discuss, but we discuss is more like production.
Right. Right. Supply and demand does have to deal with economy, right? Economics, that's the whole, that is the basis of economics. Okay. So, but does the underlying portion discuss the economy? No. Right. So that's what we're focused on. It is A. Good. Now, want to step back for a second. So, as we go through these, I do want to have you guys answer and kind of challenge the process. And I'm going to poke, I'm going to challenge you guys to further explain it too. It's going to help you become more confident in your decision making, because naturally, you guys know you're going to be solo on the test tomorrow. You're not going to be able to phone a friend. And you have to rely on your conscience, knowing that you're making the right decision. So, so thank you for responding to that, because I'm going to ask. And like yesterday, you pointed out some good things for math. You were like, hey, wait a minute, what about this? And I love that kind of thing, because you're going to remember that. And it's helpful, to challenge the process. So good. All right, based on the text. So we've got to read both. How would Puterka, that's how we're going to call that, Puterka and Zoo, most likely characterize the conclusion presented in text 1. Okay, so we have to understand the way that I would approach this is I would read text 2 and then text 1, since we're supposed to be ending with how we're characterizing a conclusion presented in text 1. That's how my brain thinks to do it. If you want to read text 1, text 2, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and read text 2 aloud, and then we'll read text 1 aloud and then discuss what we think the answer is here. So past studies of white dwarf atmospheres have concluded that certain exoplanets had continental crusts. Okay, geologist Keith Puter and other individual elements as signifiers of the types of rock found on Earth. Definitely account if you understood all of that and retained all of that, well done. Even me reading it aloud, it was a little challenging, right, to kind of keep everything on board. You can highlight on here. I can't physically do it on my iPad because it will not let me. But as you are going through, if you want to actively highlight things, Feel free. Okay, so Puterica and Zoo, they argue that the studies unduly emphasize atmospheric traces of lithium and other individual elements as signifiers of the types of rock found on Earth. That's their posture. That's their thought there about the continental crusts and all of that, the studies. Okay, now they are responding to the conclusion in text one, excuse me, they are characterizing the conclusion. Astronomer Mark Holland and colleagues examined 4 white dwarfs, small, dense remnants of past stars, in order to determine the composition of exoplanets that used to orbit those stars. Studying wavelengths of light in the white dwarf atmospheres, the team reported that traces of elements such as lithium and sodium support the presence of exoplanets with continental crusts similar to Earth's. These are the types of questions that, are challenging. What do you think here? Do you think that they would characterize it as unexpected, as premature, as questionable, or as puzzling? Questionable. Because it rests on an incomplete consideration of potential sources of the elements detected in the white dwarf atmospheres. Anybody else think it's something different? Oh, excuse me, see. Okay, as unexpected, do you think it was what unexpected? No, because they do mention it. It's not unexpected. As premature, because they've only just begun trying to determine what kinds of crust had white dwarf exoplanets had. I don't think that's the case. Yeah, it's kind of BC. Okay, those potential sources. Yeah, this sentence right here kind of is the giveaway for that, is the tie to that. Okay, on text 2. Good. All right. So let's see here. Okay, remember, according to the text means where can I find, right? We talked about that. Where can I find how Richard Wagner achieved moments of extremely high volume in his operas? This one is going to be verbatim. You just have to locate it. Where can I locate it? Which one? Starting with for example?
Yes.
For example, some of his operas, German composer Richard added more horns, trombones. Yes. Now, where does it start though? It says they did so by, it's that second sentence, right? By increasing the number of musicians playing in the orchestra. And then it furthermore goes on to say what types of instruments they played. Okay, good. This one will just be copy and paste. Okay, where the sentence or the question is here, and then we go find it in the text. Okay. Main idea of this one, I want to make sure we can answer a few more before this time runs out on us. Okay, according to the table, the dolphin with the ID recorded with her mouth. This is not a trick question. Just D. Now, you do have to be careful because there was a question we were working through the other day, and I didn't even look at the question. I don't know what I was doing. And I definitely did not solve it properly. Okay, it was a math question, but still, context is important. So just glance and make sure that you're not missing anything. But it does say that the dolphin, recordings of female bottlenose dolphins with their calves, not a trick question, and it is 1992 in there. Okay. We will, yeah, I want to make sure we have enough time to answer the rest of these. I don't want to rush through them. Okay, let's do some grammar ones in here. Okay, so public awareness campaigns about the need to single-use plastics can be successful. when these campaigns give consumers a choice. For example, Japan achieved a 40% reduction in plastic bag use after years. It's they, okay? Customers go with they. It's plural. Customers is more than one. If it said to ask a customer, then it would be one. Okay, whether or not they, well, what, yeah, it would be he or she actually in that case. It would not be one. It would be he or she, but you would use the singular, it's called an antecedent with that. Okay, but they. Good. Okay, see if you guys can get this one real quick. Okay, the award-winning book is Harris's first novel, but her writing blank honored before. Has been. Writing is singular. Her writing, one piece of writing or the group of her writing, has been. It does not have been. Have, were, and are all plural. By the way, so you can tell it by that too, okay, because they all can't be right. Okay, this part's going to time out. Yours probably will not time out if you guys open it a little bit after me. I'm just going to let it keep going. Okay, so go ahead. Oh, this was module 2. Forgot about that. Okay. So we can hop over to math and we can go there and we can do a little bit in math. And then if you guys want to hop back over to the reading and writing, I'm totally fine with that. Were there any questions in the reading and writing that you wanted to review more and do more of? Whether it's main idea, grammar, anything. Are just going to be shy today. It's fine. If anything comes to mind, okay, feel free to just ask. We'll probably do a few more at the end. Like I said, I would love to give you guys an opportunity to actually try to answer some of these, okay, independently, and then we can go over what you guys get. It's always interesting to me. Some of these classes I will go over and I'm like, what did you guys get? And it's literally A, B, C, D. I'm like, well, okay, one of you is right, but we have to figure out which one. It's very seldom that everybody gets the same answer. It's nice when that happens, but very seldom. And that will give you guys an opportunity to get why you picked the answer that you picked. So that's one of my favorite things about doing the small group here. Okay, we're going to go over to the first module for math, okay? But what we're going to do is go to the very end, and we're going to work our way back. So question 22. Okay, and why are we doing this? Well, it increases in difficulty as it goes. Okay, now I am going to address something quickly though. What I would recommend for the math section, okay, is that you spend no more than 15 seconds per problem for the first about half of the test. They should be very fast. Okay, we are talking like, look at it, answers right there, really no math required. You must do that because some of these questions are going to be a little bit more challenging for you. All right, so we are starting with the hardest type of question. That would be on a module 1 type of math. So we are given a function here. Okay, which of the following equations defines the function g? What do you guys think would be the fastest approach to this? Going to be Desmos. Unless you're like a super math whiz and can do some exponential stuff in your head, I would highly recommend using Desmos for this. Okay, so take a look at this. If we just type in, now you're welcome to open it up on your thing if you want. You don't have to type in the g of x part. You can, you don't have to, in the f of x. Okay, if we have 9 times 4, and if you're looking for the exponent button, it's going to be this one. That will allow you to put in a variable for x, for the exponent. Okay, that's the graph of the original. Now, how in the world do I figure out what they're asking me to find, g of x, where f of x plus 2? How do I determine, or what do I do from here? I should probably ask that way. What do I do from here? I like to think of the song. Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. You guys know how to do this. It's easier than you think. Promise you. In Desmos, what is the most effective way to figure out when you have a matching equation? We're not looking for an intersection point, though.
Where they overlap.
In this, what is this shift here? What is that f of x plus 2? So now tie that in with what we're looking for. So we have the original. We are looking for the graph that is of this that is shifted left 2. How do I figure that out? Yeah, you're just going to type in your answer choices. Okay, so let's try. We have 18 times 4 raised to the x. Is that shifted left 4 from the red to the blue? That's like 2 and some change. But it's kind of close, right? I mean, you're still going left. Let's try the next one. Okay, not option A. That's looking like it. Okay, now let's use logic here. I love using logic on these things. If you're taking a graph and it's the same graph, you're not stretching it, you're not compressing it, you are literally translating it like this. It's got to be the same format. The base has to be 4. So C and D are not even close to being, it can't be C. Those are different graphs altogether, the 8 and the 16. Does that make sense? So we eliminated A by looking at the graph and saying, okay, it's only shifted over 2 and some change. So it can't be A. If it's not A, it has to be B. We can eliminate these two right off the bat because 18 are not the same base as 4. Those graphs will look different when you graph them. Okay. Now, even though that was like the hardest section, it really wasn't that hard. Okay. All we had to do was know that we have to plug it into Desmos. And there is an interpretation piece there. Okay. So you have to understand what that f of x plus 2 means. You know what? I wonder, let me try this real quick. Desmos changes sometimes too. I feel like every time I use it, it changes. Let me try this. So you're looking at the green is what you have to have. Okay, so what I did was I changed this. I input the original equation. I input what we're looking for. So now all I would have to do is figure out which one lines up with the green one. Okay, so you see the green turned purple, which means that that is the correct answer. Good to know. Okay, so transformations. All right, what about one like this? So geometry and trig are usually one of like the hot topics as I'm going through these test prep classes. Okay, we have two similar triangles, XYZ and XYZ correspond to RT. So what does it mean when we have a similar triangle? Yes, angle measures are the same. Side measures are not the same, but angle measures are identical, okay? So is 20. Okay, and 2xy is RS. What is the measure of angle T?
Portion just be one.
They're trying to trick you. It's 20. There, you see what they did there? This little 20. You see, they put in that 2xy equals RS, and that's why I paused right there. I was reading it, and I was like, I don't think this is relevant, these little turds. And then I reread it to make sure that it was not, I didn't miss, like, it's a right triangle or something else where you have to subtract, but yeah, they sure enough, they did that. So Z and T are exactly the same. Y and S and X and R are the same. So this is a prime example of a question that could go in the first 15-second category, but it doesn't because our brains start to entertain this unnecessary information and we're not sure if we need it or not. Okay, good. Radical equations. Nothing like the smell of radical equations in the evening. Okay. How do we do this one? We can do it algebraically, okay? But, I was telling the students yesterday, I tutor kids sometimes that have not even had Algebra 2 yet, and they are asked to solve this. So you don't have to know how to do it algebraically. Right? What's this one looking like? How are we gonna solve this? Yeah. And we're gonna get two solutions when we do that. So here, feels a little bit like a cheat code, honestly, because it kind of is. And what is the smallest one? It's going to be -3. You can solve it algebraically if you want to, but you don't get bonus points for working it out by hand. So you might as well use your resources well, okay? Now, what I want to do, I do want to encourage you guys to think about this one as well. Just logically, you may want to plug it back in, make sure that there's no errors, okay? Whenever you have a radical equation like this, you cannot have a negative under the radical, okay? Now, hopefully that would not show up on the graph if it were not a real solution, but you never know. Math is weird sometimes, so I would just logically plug and get any negative answers, and you don't under the radical. Okay, because that would be an extraneous solution. That's why I'm talking about that. You want to make sure that the smallest solution is not also the one to the right. Okay, so it's not 10. It is -3. All right. A land uses 88 ounces of water in a bucket 5y in 5y minutes. Which expression represents the number of ounces the water hose puts in the bucket in 9y minutes at this rate? How would we? Any idea of how to solve it? Because we got to get to the answer. We got to try something. Did anybody else work it out? Okay. Those are right there. There you go. Yep. Okay. Do you need a screwdriver? Okay. Yeah, it's right there for you. I got you. You finished with it? No, you're gonna eat some more. I also have a microwave. If it gets cold, we'll pop it in there. What did you do? Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. That's a way to do it. The way that I would probably see is going to be doing, I would set it up the same way, but do 88x y, and then just try out my answer choices and see which lines overlap. So, but algebraically that works. So what he said was, could I set 88x equal to 5y, solve for y, because he divided both sides by 5, so you get an answer for y, and then just multiply that by 9. Algebraically, that is how you do it. Okay, but like I said, I tutor some kids that's not going to work for them. And so we'll just plug it in. 88x equals 5y. And we're looking for an overlapping line. Okay, so we've got 9y equals 792, or actually it's going to be a parallel line is what that's going to be. No, the slope, no, it's going to be the same. Yeah, because there's no different y-intercept. Yeah. So anyway, you see how these overlap? That's how I would do it. Now, that could take longer though, because you notice that it's option D. So I started with option D because you said it was D in there, and that's what it is. But if you were working this out independently, you would have to try out all of your options, which is not hard, but you just have to be quick, okay? You want to make sure that the computer that you're working on, that you're familiar with it. There's nothing like, you don't want to get caught up in not understanding where things are, either on the computer or on the app, the Blue Book app. You want to make sure you're familiar with that. Okay, any questions here? We're talking about the rate is the same. It says at this rate. So you're looking for the same slope, which is your 792 over 5. That's the rate that it's going. Okay. Let's go back again here. The given function f, model number of coupons a company sent to their customers at the end of each year, where t represents the number of years and since the end of 98, and t is between 0 and 5. If y equals f of t is graphed in the ty plane, which of the following is the best interpretation of the y-intercept of this graph in this context? Okay, so it is talking about a graph. Anybody know what the answer is off the top? It is D. Yeah. Okay. Y-intercept. Now, when we're talking about a graph like this, when we graph it, I'm going to pull it up. It's going to be a decaying function. 0.65 is decaying. So that means, obviously, when is the last time that you've seen coupons come in the mail? Okay. 1998 was a little bit when I was little, so I remember getting coupons in the mail. Newsflash, you haven't, because hello, it's been a long time since 1998 and no one uses paper coupons anymore. So you would expect that number to decline, but at one point that was a very popular thing. So 8,000 is our number. Anytime you see an exponential function, that first number after the equal sign is going to be your starting number. Okay, when we graph this, 8,000 equals 0.65 raised to the, I'm going to do the x power, it's the same thing. Now 8,000 is all the way up here. Oh, now I'm at way above that. Wait a minute. Oh, hello. Did something wrong here. Let's do this properly. I was like, this is not looking right. Okay, here we go. All right, there's the decay function, okay, where it looks like exponential. You can see right up here that this is our y-intercept. And what this says is we want the best interpretation of the y-intercept. So at 0, when t is talking about the number of years since the end of 1998, if we're at 0, 8,000 would be the starting point. And that's where the number of coupons that the company sent out was. And this one does not require that you graph it, but if you don't graph it, you do have to understand what it's talking about. So it's D. Any questions? Okay, this one we're not actually going to work out, but I do want you to tell me how to work this one out. And what is the fastest way? It is. You can do substitution. Okay, so algebraically, if you're fast and you're accurate, then substitution is going to be the fastest way. In a test-taking setting, this is question number 17, so you're going to be already going through the test. I would say Desmos is probably faster. Okay, so when we plug this into Desmos and or whenever you solve it by substitution, what are we looking for? Yes, but we've got to solve it, right? We've got to solve it for either for x and y and then subtract the values. If we graph it, what are we looking for?
Oh, where they intersect.
Yes, we're looking for that intersection point. Okay, and then we have to be very careful and read this, that they want those values subtracted, x minus y. So if they intersect, let's say at 1, 3, we would do 1 minus 3, so our answer would be negative 2. That makes sense? Okay. We're not actually going to solve that one. This one, okay, the function f is defined by this thing here. In the xy plane, the graph of y equals g of x is the result of translating this graph up 4 units. What is the value of g of 0? Guys look so serious. They hate the SAT. It has the effect. It has I can tell. It has a negative effect on you guys. You guys don't look as pleased as I am for you to be here. And it's okay. It just, it's comical. You'll laugh at it after tomorrow, after the pressure is off. You'll be able to breathe and then enjoy your summer. Good. That's what I would do, right? Because you're shifting the graph up 4. So you're going to go here and you're going to do x minus 6. You're going to do x minus 2, and then you're going to do x plus 6. Okay, so you got to zoom all the way back in over here. Okay, Now for this, bro, you can click on it, okay, and it's going to give you your y-intercept. Now we're moving it up 4 units. So what is our answer going to be? 76. Okay. Yeah, see, I told you guys. That in reverse is my life. 6, 7. All time. Okay. If you also want to do this, you can see it's going to spit it out to you directly. It'll be 76 here. If you add the +4 at the end. Okay, it's up to you. You can either graph it normally and just take it, shift it up 4, note that it's 76, or you can plug in the +4 and do it that way. Okay. This guy, do you know how to do it? For an equivalent expression. It's B. Yeah. Great question. How did you solve it?
I squared the 11 into the 12, and then I just put the 44 outside and squared then the 132 inside.
Okay, so you're very close, very, very close. What you said was you squared both 11 and 12. So what we're doing is we're finding an equivalent fraction there. So instead of squaring it, we're actually multiplying top and bottom by 12. Okay, so 11 times 11 is actually 121. So, but either way, like I said, you don't get bonus points for working it out correctly. You get bonus points for how you answer it. So I appreciate you, explaining that. You still got it right either way. You multiply the exponent by 12 over 12, and that's allowed because it's a factor of 1. And you have a denominator, that's going to be the index of your radical. So just looking at that fact alone, 11 doesn't go into 12. So 11 is not possible. That is not a thing. 121 is the same thing. 121 is not divisible by 12, so that can't be right. The only possible options would be A and B, but A is not equivalent. Option A is not equivalent to the A that's in there. Okay, so let's say you didn't know that. Lovely Desmos again. You take this, you do up here. Okay, you're going to get this graph. And then you're going to come down here, and then it's under funcs right there. You're going to scroll all the way to the bottom, and there's your radical. And you're going to type in 144 x raised to the 132 power. Okay. The only reason that this is giving you both sides of this is that when you do a square root, it technically also has a negative side. We're not including the negative side in this because look at this restriction where A is positive. So if you were to graph this, you may naturally think to X that out as an option if they don't overlap. I mean, they do overlap completely on the right side, but you may see that left side and be like, they're not the same. They actually are, but because when you have a radical, it's technically plus or minus, it spits out that left side to you. You don't need that because of the restriction here, because A is positive. Okay. Any questions so far on those? Okay, module 2 is going to get real, so I'm glad you don't have questions so far. Module 2 is, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Okay, we have about 7-ish minutes left on this. I'm going to do kind of like a speed round coming up here where we go through these questions in reverse order, just like we're doing, but we're going to take less time per question, okay? These should be very quick for you. This one is kind of quick. No math required, but you still have to understand what's going on. Okay, a certain township consists of a 5-hectare industrial park and a 24-hectare neighborhood. The total number of trees in the township is 4529. The equation 5x plus 24y equals 4529 represents the situation. And which of the following is the best interpretation of x in this context? Okay, let's see here. 5 is the industrial park. Is it going to be average though? You are close. It's got to be C, because we're going to take. No, because the 5-hectare, that it's each hectare. Let me read that again. Well, yeah, I guess we can't. Well, I mean, you can quantify that. It would just be kind of hard. I'm just imagining somebody walking through a park being like, okay, 1, 2, 3 with all the trees. That would be challenging. It would probably be easier to take a drone view and take the average amount. You see what I'm saying? I don't know, because it says the total number of trees in the township is 4529. But reading it per hectare, it's either A or C. It's got to be. It's got to be A. The per hectare, whenever it's a per thing, you're going to multiply it by something. I agree with you saying that the total number of trees. We're going to see. It doesn't let me view it. You guys, it will. It will let you view that on your end whenever we finish this out. But it's got to be A. It's got to be the per hectare. So let's jot down number 14 just on your paper, whatever. We'll look at the end of class. Okay, 14, module 1. Yeah, something that you'll find out about me, I really don't like looking at the answer key. I feel like I'm cheating. So I like to work it out. I have worked this one out before. This is not one that I redid because it's in the beginning of the thing. So I was like, easy, but it is tricky. It's got to be A though. Per hectare, there's 5 hectares. We would multiply I would guess the average number of trees in that hectare by 5 to get the total amount of trees in that section. Okay, that's the only one that makes sense, but it's either A or C. Okay, my final would be A. That's the one that I selected. Okay, we are going to go through. Okay, this is a trick question. We talked about similar triangles having the same angles, right? So it's talking about the sine of F and the sine of J. Those are going to be the same. Okay, the same. So this one looks hard, but it is not. And as I mentioned, you want to spend no more than about 15 seconds on the first, about half. Okay, I would say up to question at least 13. Okay, 15 seconds. That one took 2. If you realize that the angles are the same, you don't even have to think about it. Angle F, angle J, 308 over 317, done. Okay, going back, this one, okay, about this one. We are 4 minus 6 easily. Be smart about it.
To the other side. 9 times that value. Times that value.
16.
16, sorry.
Yeah. So let's think about this. Okay. I'm too short to point to it. However, we will do our best. If you move, so in that same token, right, you move that 2 over, so you subtract 2 from 18, so you get 16. You can also move the 8 of the 4 minus 3x's. So you have 9 minus 8 of them, which gives you 1. Okay, if you didn't catch that, let me jot this down. Oh, I knew it was going to do that. It always has to wake up when we don't use it often. Okay. I think that was 18. So if you subtract 2, but you also subtract the 8 minus 8 times 4 minus 3x. Okay, you can think of these as objects. Don't be intimidated by them. They're just things. 4 minus 3x is a thing. You have 9 of them, and then you've got 8 of them. If you subtract and you're combining like terms, 9 minus 8 is going to leave you with 1 of them. And this is 16. So the value of 4 minus 3x is right there. But you've got to be smart about how you approach this. Now, granted, yes, you can go through and distribute and solve for x. You can even plug this into Desmos, the whole 9, and still get the right answer. You're just taking the long way around. All right, let's try to keep these quick. That's could be, I guess, supposed to be a quick one. Let's see here. What is the largest value in this data set? A quick one. 14. Okay, quick. Okay, the solution to this one, we pop that into Desmos. See if we can solve this quick. What is the correct answer here? We have a negative slope and a positive y-intercept. Yeah, it's going to be B. Good. Okay, module 2. So what we're going to do on this one, we are going to apply the strategies and we are going to finish this module together. Okay, we're going to go through and I'm going to set a timer, okay, on this one. We are only going to aim to spend about 4 minutes on the first 10 questions. Let's see if we can do it. I like a good challenge. Okay. If you apply this strategy, right, and if this is hard for you, go home and practice. Get a couple reps in. I don't recommend don't spend the whole evening prepping for something, like prepping for tomorrow. This is sufficient practice. But if there's a few things that you want to work on, and strategy is one of them, do that. Okay. So this one here, I'm just going to set a timer and we're just going to go. Okay. When you get the answer, feel free to call it out. B. This one. This one. Quick. You said 3? Good. Okay. Hold on. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Okay, 10. There is a fast way to do this. Look at some comparisons there. Okay, we'll go over that in a second. We're doing well on time though. Okay, this one. I know you mentioned percentages too. This is a percentage one. Okay, so you do 0.8 times 300. Good. Okay, what's this guy? I know some people probably didn't even finish reading that yet. It is okay. It's all right. We're going to keep it moving. And then we'll go over it. I want you guys to feel the pressure of answering these questions in this time frame. Gotta be okay. This guy. Okay, how did that feel? Pretty okay. Well, we still have 1:30 left. Okay, so initially, when I was like, 15 seconds on each problem, you guys are like, you feel like you start to tense up and you're like, wait. I promise it's really not that bad. Okay. Now, I do understand some of the things that we were going through. Not like you alone, when you test alone, you may take a little bit longer. That's okay. We still had 1:30 using the strategy that I said. 15 seconds a problem. So like we did 10 questions in a minute, or 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Like it's quick. Okay. You guys are solving them way faster than that. And they're all right too. Okay. I know I heard some of the answers. If we go back and look at them, you would easily be able to see why they were incorrect. It was just going quick. The goal for the first at least 10, 15 seconds, but you want 100% accuracy on that, obviously, because that's going to help boost your score. All right. Now, I want to continue and see how can we keep this pace and for how long. Okay. If we end up with some short answer questions that look like they're too complicated, flag them and come back to them. Do not waste time on them initially. But I want to see how long we can sustain this pace of the 15 seconds per problem. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next problem and then click resume on my timer. Okay, what is the equation for this? See. Okay, this guy. It's D. These are supplementary angles. I can't do that in my head, so. Sure, that sounds correct. As long as you multiplied it correctly, then we are good to go. I'm not checking you because I trust your fingers. Okay, this one here. 45. Okay. It's just asking you to identify the y-intercept that they give you. What is the equation of a line that's parallel to that one with a different y-intercept? That's what it's saying there. Okay. This, which is the solution, which ordered pair is in the solution set? Careful. Got to be D. Yep. You maybe have switched your 2 and -5 or something. It's D though. All right, so that's time. So that was question 16. We only have 5 more to go. Guys, that was 4 minutes. total. Okay, so if you sustain that pace, now you may not have understood all of what we just did, and I'm going to dig through these if you need me to. I'm happy to. And if there's things in here that you're not understanding, I want to go through them with you. But my point in showing you this is that you don't have to overthink these. Okay, if your peers can do it in the same time frame, so can you. All right, now let's keep going. I'm just going to keep a running timer thing on here. Well, I'll set it for another 5, and let's see if we can answer the rest of the questions in 5 minutes. We get over a minute per question, and we've already been, I mean, the timer has been running this whole time. We still have 27 minutes for this module. We're not going to need all that, but I'll see if we can just do it in 5. Okay, 17. The number of bacteria in the liquid medium doubles every day. There are 44,000 bacteria in the liquid medium at the start of an observation. So remember what I said about that. Which of the following represents the number of bacteria in the liquid medium T days after the start of the observation? See. Always the starting value is after the equal sign every time. So it's got to be either C or D, and it's doubling every time. So it's got to be 2. Can't be half. Half, that would be a half-life or something close to that. Okay, the product of a positive number x and the number that is 8 more than x is 180. What is the value of x? This one you may need to write down, which is fine. Oh yeah, we'll probably have to factor this. A couple different ways you can solve this one. What'd you get? It's got to be B. Okay. The reason I was stopping, I was like, I'll pause that for a second. Is I was like, what is the value of x? Like these little turds, there's more than one. Okay, it's a quadratic. So it's B on this one. All right, let's keep going. Which of the following is a solution to the given equation? That's what they should have asked for the other one, but they did not. Okay, this one, best approach. Oh, we don't even need to do this. We do not even need to do that. You set, I mean, you can, but you set both of these equal to 0. Both sets of parentheses equal to 0. And what would our answer be here? Yeah. C, and then positive 5/2 would be the other one. Okay, another option, you can type this into Desmos. But the thing is here, you're going to get some straight lines. Let me just show you what will happen if you do this, because this is good to kind of point out here. Since you're solving for x, your solutions turn out to be straight lines. Oh, actually, not if you just type it. Okay, never mind. But you do have a Desmos. You do have a decimal in here. Now, do you guys know how to convert decimal to fraction on Desmos? On Desmos. So you go to scientific. Maybe not. You go here. You do 0.8, and then you're going to see this little fraction bar appear on the left in blue. And it spits it right out to you. Okay, so very helpful. If you go to graph it and you're like, oh shoot, I don't know what 0.8 is as a fraction, don't panic. Put it in the graphing section like this and click that button and it will spit it out to you. Okay, here we go. And I've been chit-chatting the whole time as the timer's been going, but we still have over a minute left. Okay, Keenan made 32 cups of vegetable broth. He's in a soup kitchen apparently. And then Kenan filled X small jars and Y large jars with all the vegetable broth he made. This is the equation. What is the best interpretation of 5y in this context? That's going to be y. Yeah, it's going to be C in this case. The total number of cups, because each jar, yeah, holds 5 cups. Okay, so then you just multiply it by all of the jars that he had. So the total number of cups. Good. Still have time left. Amazing. Okay, here's the area. Oh, this is kind of a silly question. Of the rectangular cutting board can be represented by the expression WW times W plus 9. W is the width, so what's the length? That was kind of a silly question. Okay, and we still have time. That's crazy. Timer's up, but I've been yapping the whole time. So let's solve this one. And this will have been the entire module too, and we still have 21 minutes left. Okay, so the angle R is 2 pi thirds radians. The measure of angle T is 5 radians. Greater than the measure of angle R. What is the measure of angle T in degrees? Okay, this one actually is a little bit math, like we have to actually do math on this one. But so far, we haven't needed to do that. Now, if you don't remember the conversion, they do tell you, not directly, but they do give it to you. They tell you that a number of degrees of arc in a circle is 360, and the number of radians in an arc is 2 pi. So this comes out of the reference sheet up there where the x squared is. Is it A? Let us see here. It's greater. Okay, so it's going to be math. Let's see. Okay, so you have to get a common denominator first. Since it's 5 pi 12ths radians greater than the measure of angle R, you've got to add those together. Now you can do that on Desmos. Okay, so you can just type in 2 pi thirds plus 5 pi 12ths. And then your conversion is going to be 2 pi over 360. 360 over 2 pi. It's 360 over 2 pi because you're going 2 degrees. So you want to end up with a 360 on top. I'll work this one out so you guys can see it. But really, that was like, oh, here we go. That was like the only one that we actually had to do some math on. Okay, 5 pi over 12 plus 2 pi divided by 3. So there's our answer. I know it doesn't look pretty. Doesn't have to though. And if you want to do it without pi, you can. Okay, that will give you a fraction. Just to show you guys what that would look like, you would just need to include pi in your answer. Okay, so it's 13 pi 12ths is what that would end up being. If you take your 13 pi over 12 and you multiply that by 360 over 2 pi, that's the conversion there, you're going to get 195. Any questions on that one?
How did we do? Former was like x minus 3 and ask what was the equivalent expression.
Yes, I will show you that. That's okay. You mean it was this one that I wrote down, right? The 4 minus 3x? Or no?
No,
a different one?
No, it was, yeah, I mean, if you could just keep going.
Yeah. Oh, this one. Ah, yes, yes, yes. This one's actually similar. So good. I'm glad that you asked about this. Okay, first things first. You can pop this into Desmos. I probably would suggest doing it that way. Okay, but since you're mentally thinking, I have 15 seconds to solve this, what's the fastest way to do this? I would say take a look at that denominator where you can factor out a 2. And then you're left with x minus 7 on there. So this is what this is going to look like. Fully charged. Okay, we've got 8x. I think it was minus 3 something. We'll fix that in a second. It is. That's exactly what it is. So from here, okay, if we look at this denominator and we say 8x times x minus 7 plus 3 times x minus 7, factor out a 2 from that. Or whatever that is. I don't know if I got every sign correct, but this is the essence of it, okay? Where we're factoring out the x minus 7s there. Now in Desmos, how I would probably recommend doing it, I think the way I just did it is faster if you know it algebraically. That's faster. Because even typing this joker into Desmos is going to be a pain in the rear. Okay, so I'm putting parentheses, double parentheses, because I have to include my entire numerator there. And this is in an area too where students make big mistakes, where they type something in that doesn't look like the original. Okay, so this is the graph of my original function. And then I'm just going to type in, see, in this one you need parentheses. Oh, parentheses as well. This is going to be 8x minus 3 over 2. And you'll see it overlap there. Okay, so just to show you again, this is my purple is turning red, which means it's an exact match. Anytime you see equivalent expressions, Desmos. Equivalent expressions equals Desmos. Okay, because you're literally going to be looking for a carbon copy. What is overlaying? That's an equivalent expression. Okay, now that was like perfect timing as far as our class goes. We've got about 20 minutes left. I want to address anything that you guys have questions about. Okay, I do have a list of the hardest types of math questions that I could find, and I'm happy to go through that with you guys if you don't have any further questions. But I want to take a second and give you guys some time to think. Is there something that you want me to go over, reading and writing or math? Both of them. I'll give you guys a few more seconds to just think. Just think through. Think of future you sitting there tomorrow. What is future you going to think about needing help with? You guys just came ready for the math, the hard math ones. Right. If you need help with anything else, please feel free to ask, as we're moving through this. So what we'll do, we'll spend the remainder of the time going through the hardest questions I could find. Okay. Here is one of them. Please do. Absolutely. Give this one a go. Forewarning, this one you are going to need to write down or something. To my knowledge, there's not a way to do this without writing it down. But But I will be impressed if you guys can do this without writing it down. When I look, it will not surprise me. When I taught at Navarre, these kids in the class answered questions faster than I can. I was like, okay. I taught regular geometry and algebra too. These kids should have been in honors though. Oh, sorry, that was. And maybe go ahead and if you want to take like a photo of it or whatever, I'm gonna move this off the screen for a second. I just don't want you to lose what the essence of it is saying. I'm just gonna put it into my notes so that I can write on it. I know, isn't it just such a fun brain twister? It is. It's Friday too. It's Fun Fraction Friday. Shut up. Fun Fraction Function Friday. All my favorite F words, all in one sentence. Well, for my my geometry and algebra kids that I teach during the year, we had Fun Fraction French Toast Friday, and then I started running out of F words for breakfast that I could use, so we just called it Brain Food Friday. Fun Fraction Brain Food Friday. See, students always say that, and I'm like, no, you don't wish that, because I didn't let my kids use calculators, and yeah, bro, they fought me up and down, but it was a fun time for real. They figured out how to Bluetooth my projector to turn it off on their phones. So like I'd be teaching and then it would just turn off, and I was like, you little turds. And then I would come into my classroom and they would hide their books in the ceiling and stuff because they know I can't reach it. And I'm like, I'm not climbing on the table. So, and they're like, I guess we can't work today. I'm like, oh, you're so funny. I'm like, yeah, I already know what the material is, dummies. Like I prepped for today. No, it was so fun. It was so fun. Oh yeah, this is okay. Anyway. They were always so shocked. They're like, you're not gonna write us up? I'm like, no. You guys are grown. Why would I do that? Would you do what? I'm sorry. You can do perhaps some. Nope, can't do that because it's exponential. This is an exponential thing. So point slope would only work if it's linear. No clue? What a great one to go through. Did you get it? Okay. Okay, think graphically. What would this mean? This and this.
Is it 122 over 7?
I think that is the right answer. That's sounding very correct. Let me. This I actually do have the answer key pulled up for. Or I did. How'd you get it?
Well, so I did because y equals f of x minus 15. I just did negative a to the power of x plus b minus 15.
Good.
Equals negative 99 over 7.
Okay.
And because anything to the power of 0 equals 1, I had negative 1 plus b minus 15 equals negative 99 over 7.
Okay.
And then I solved for b, and then I did, I got b is negative 57 over 7. So then I did a plus negative 57 over 7 equals over 7.
Very good. Flawless explanation as well. So I'm going to just paraphrase. Okay. The reason I started asking you graphically, what is the implication between those two? It's the graph shifted down 15 units. So we did do something like that. And I was trying to pull it up here. What question is this? 27. This one is a different. 122/7 sounds correct. I'm going to solve it out and make sure. But your answering of it was correct. After you figure out the transformed graph, which would be that one, you plug in the point that you're given. Okay, so you put the x in for 0, you put the -99/7 for f of x, and then you go and you solve that as a system of equations. So -99/7 plus 15. Oh, I don't want to do that as a decimal. What did you get for that one, for this part?
And -57. Oh, I added the one.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so you got that for B. Okay, we'll just. Okay, so this right here is a 1, okay, or a -1, and then you add it over to the other side. Anything to the 0 power is 1. So you get B. The product of A and B, A times B is 65/7, so then you plug this guy in over here. A times -57/7 equals 65/7. Now this one, is this what you did here? Because this is going to give a little bit of a different answer. 122/7 sounding right. Okay, so you added there. This one is going to be, you would have to divide by both sides or do multiply by the inverse. That's okay. So from here, you would multiply by the inverse, -7/57. Okay, and that's going to be multiplied to both sides. It's going to cancel this guy out in there. So our A is going to be -65/57. And that does check out. If you multiply A and B, those are going to work. Okay, that one is a little bit challenging. Okay, now one of the other ones I want to work through was super hard. This is actually in module 2 of the same test. It has a K. Oof. Okay. This one's actually multiple choice, but this one, the first time I worked this out, it gave me a run for my money, man. Now, I will be happy, if you're able to work this out. Real time, though, on the test, if you come to a question like this, flag it, make an educated guess, and move on. Okay, I'm telling you right now, because this one is tricky to solve. Okay, even the explanation of it, because I spent, like, when I was first trying to work this out, I probably spent like 20 minutes on it, just in my spare time trying to do it. I didn't get an answer. So I went back and looked at the explanation, and I was having trouble understanding their explanation of it. And I was like, this is garbage, actually. So if you answer all of the other questions and you're super confident in them and you've got time to kill, go for it. I just would not waste your time on it, on the actual test. So if you want to take a picture of this one, you can. If you want to work it out, go for it. Yeah, I would say probably not doing that one would be good. How about this guy? This was a short answer one. 210 to 27. 210 is p% greater than 30. What is the value of p? See if you can solve this one. And I'll give you the answer to the other one. You want it? Let's see. What was this one? 26 model. It's B on the other one, by the way. This one here. This one is B for 26, but 27. And I want you to think logically about this one too. It is not 70, but I know why you picked 70. Any other guesses? If we're going to make this an equation, how would I write p% greater than something? P% greater than 30. This one's tricky. See, I told you I picked the hardest ones. Oh, see, that's what they want you to think. That's what they want you to think. Ooh, it's up there. It's up there. It's up. It's 600. Okay, so this is why. Now think logically about this. 210 is a lot bigger than 30, right? And so we have to think about how many times over, which is what you guys were kind of thinking, I guess, in terms of how many times you would have to increase. P% greater than 30. P% is this. Now, if we take a percent of 30, then we would have to also add that percent to the original value, okay? So when we go and do this, another way to write this is going to be 30 times 1 plus some percent. Oh, excuse me, 30. Okay, so in this case, we're going to do 210. 210, so if we divide by 30 on both sides, we're going to get 7 equals 1 plus p over 100. Subtract 1 from both sides, and then multiply by 100. Okay, I'm going to explain that again. This part here is the tricky part. That's why I didn't write that down initially. We'll see if anybody could get it. When we're saying p% greater than 30, we have to find the percent of 30 and add it to the original value. Okay, that's what this is. Now, this is the very last question on module 2. Okay, I would expect that this would be in the hardest type. Additionally, it is short answer, so I would not answer this unless you have time to answer it and time to think about it. One question is not going to kill your score, okay? And all the other ones are quick. So don't stress out if you're like, this one was rough. It's supposed to be rough. I want you guys to leave feeling challenged in this, okay? But also leaving feeling confident with the fact that we had 21 minutes left in the module 2 section that we did together on the digital version. And this is also the paper version of this, which I think the paper version is harder. Okay, the one online is a lot easier, which is what I said. I'm hoping that you guys are going to be over prepared. So when you get to the test tomorrow, you're going to be like, dude, it was a snooze fest. That's my favorite thing to get notice of. Anyway, once you get this set up, it's not super hard to solve it. You're just using inverse operations and solving for a variable. So we divide by 30 first here, okay, to get 7 equals 1 plus p over 100. Subtract 1 to get p is 600. Yeah. Okay. So basically 600. Yeah. If you were to plug it back in, you would still get 210 there, just to check your answer if you wanted to. But it's 600% greater than 30. You take 600 of that value and then add it to 30, you're going to get 210. Okay. So any other questions? How are you guys feeling about it for tomorrow?
Feel good, but how would you solve?
Oh, this one? I am happy to send you the work for it.
I'm taking another SAT prep right now. We
Yeah.
did this one this morning.
Yeah.
And we spent like 30 minutes on it.
Yeah. I'm being honest with you. I would not allocate time for it on the test itself. Straight up. I am very much of the belief, and like I said, I love math. I'm very much of the belief that you've got to be smart about how you're answering these questions. If it takes you only get 30 minutes in the entire module. I have a math degree, and it took me 20 minutes to solve it. And even after drawing, and I didn't get an answer the first time I tried this one. I got so frustrated with it, and I was like, this is for the birds. And I'm like, I never look at the answer key when I'm working these out, ever. I don't like to. And I actually looked at it, the answer explanations. I'll send it to you so you guys can take a look at it. I'll pull it up so you can even see what I'm talking about. Oh, this was another one that I wanted to work through this one. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You're going to be like, what? I may have this one also worked out. I can't remember if I worked this one out on my YouTube channel. I will look. If I did, I will send it to you if you really want to see it. Let's see here. This one was, what is it, question 27? I think so. Oh, wait, this one? That's another one. It was 27. Okay. Oh, we did that one. Wait, this is, module 2. 26. Ready? You may see if you understand it. I don't know. And this is only the first part, by the way, of the explanation. It's continued on page 2. This entire two paragraphs is explaining it. So, and you see like the other explanations here are a lot shorter than that. Okay. I'm being real with you. I would not answer that question unless you had a lot of extra time. If we're fighting for an 800 on the math section, I would be happy to walk through this with you and explain it to you. This is just tricky. Like, why would they do this? No one's getting this right. I would be shocked if somebody got this correct on the SAT. There's only one student that I've ever tutored that got even remotely close to a 1600. He got like a 15 something, and I was like, what? Super smart kid, dude. But even he got one wrong on the math. And so I was like, okay, it made me just feel a little bit more normal, because this type of question, I just don't know why this would be a trick question on here. It's a time waster, a headache, and you're going to walk away feeling frustrated by it. So that's when I would say cut your losses and don't let yourself get frustrated by it. Even after reading this, I did not understand what it was talking about. I had to actually go back through and like, okay, let me lock into this one thing. I spent way too long on this problem, like, because it was frustrating me. I don't like to not know something. The answer is beyond here, but initially walking into it, and I worked out for the first time, I was like, oh, this can't be that hard. Yeah, right. Joke was on me. But does that make sense? Just strategy wise, I would not waste your time on it. Okay. But happy, I think I have this question worked out, and if I do, I will send it to you. I'm happy to attach that page I just had up of their answer explanations, and we can go through it. And you can look through it on there if you'd like to, but it's just not a strategic, smart use of time on there. Okay. So as far as tonight goes into tomorrow, get a good night's sleep. Okay. Tonight is not the night to doom scroll or talk to anybody at a super late amount of time. Do some self-care, take a shower, go to bed at a decent time, wake up and eat a good breakfast, not compromising of M&Ms and Dr. Pepper, as one of my students told me he had before his SAT. He was like, I forgot my Adderall, but don't worry, I totally had M&Ms and Dr. Pepper. And I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. Seriously, eat a good meal before you go. There's nothing worse than being distracted by hunger, or listening to somebody else's stomach that's, they're distracted by hunger. There's going to be distractions in there tomorrow. So if you do anything tonight, I know this is going to sound crazy, but study with some sort of noise going on around you, so that you can become familiar with a clock ticking, somebody shaking their leg, somebody coughing. It is inevitable. It happens every single test period where somebody is annoying. Somebody's got like this business going on or this. And I'm like, shut up. Like, I'm trying to focus. So if you put yourself in that environment to just expect it, then it won't distract you tomorrow. But remember the strategies that we went over. 15 seconds for the math, for most of it, honestly. I mean, we got through 17 questions in 4 minutes. So just know when you're going through it, they are a lot easier than they appear. Don't overthink that. The ones that I pulled up, I don't think you guys are going to see anything quite of that level on there tomorrow. The goal is to over prepare you. So if you want a little bit of extra of anything, you guys can feel free, send me an email or text me, and I'm happy to send you something additional. But do not spend a whole lot more time reviewing for the SAT tomorrow. Just know that, put your trust in me. I've prepared you well for it, promise. And if there's anything that you feel like you need to look over, do. But don't spend all night cramming. Don't search TikTok for all these stupid reels about how to, or not, they're not, whatever they are, shorts, about how to solve these things, because they don't always work. A lot of that stuff is clickbait, and you get sucked into it, and it will replace the wonderful material that I've just taught you. It will replace it with trash. Okay. It makes me so mad. Some of the tutors that I follow, I'm like, bro, you literally are teaching this, and it works for only that type of question. And here my students are bringing it to me saying, hey, does this work? I saw this on TikTok. I'm like, you did not. First of all, you did not. So just get a good night's sleep tonight, and then good luck tomorrow. Let me know how you do when you get your results, because I will be more antsy than you to get them. So good luck. If you guys don't have any other questions, you guys can head out. Hope you have a great weekend, and then you can enjoy your summer starting tomorrow. All the liquid sunshine that's coming this week. It's going to rain all week. And if you want food to take with you, please do. If you guys have hungry siblings or need a